this scape that I've had in my Lake Malawi African cichlid tank has been the same since day dot. When I got these African cichlids, they were really, really tiny, and they've obviously grown a lot bigger. I would like them to have a little bit more room to swim around. You know, they don't need as much of this rock. I do have a lot of Mbuna, like rock dwelling African cichlids in here, but I think that they could do with just rock maybe in the middle, and then having a lot more open swimming space for some of the peacocks and the haps that I've got in here. The other thing too is you might be able to notice that there is a lot of Black Beard Algae in this tank. This tank has also gone through a lot of algae phases, but at the moment it's kind of like this really dark green color, and some areas are black. So what I want to focus on as well is maybe removing some of the really badly covered rocks. Instead of having two islands, what I want to do is I want to have one main island in the middle of the tank, and then hopefully some plants on it too. Now that I've got my tank rack in the garage, I just want to see if I can reduce my maintenance a little bit, and if I can get plants growing in these tanks, that's going to help a lot with that, just to keep nitrates down. So that's my plan for this tank. I'm actually going to be so satisfied scraping this algae off. It's going to be so good. I just have to be careful I don't accidentally take any of my bristle noses out. Come on, buddy. You're stuck on there. Yeah, it's heavy. I'm actually pretty impressed though by the lack of poo that's under these. I'm actually really happy to see that. I wasn't sure if I was going to lift that up and get a bunch of gunk. This would be the rock I would be the most worried about, would be harboring a lot of waste. But I do my best with the wave maker to actually use that to blow out like in between the crevices, since I can't lift this, to see if I can get a bunch of this out. But as you can see, there's still a lot from the rock on the end that tends to stay under there. It's like a little whirlpool of fish poo over there. So yeah, I already like that a lot more actually, with them having way more swimming space. I think that looks really good. So here is all our rock. Let's focus on this one first. So let's see how easy it is to get this off with a razor blade. You can see probably here how it becomes almost just like this hard stuff. See, like it doesn't have that flowy, hairy effect that it has like when it's in the tank. Okay, I got a plan. This stuff is specifically called hydrogen peroxide, and this is the 3% one, which I believe you would have to look into it yourself just to make sure, but I believe this is the type that you can dilute with water and add directly to the tank as well. But oh, that's lovely. But people said they had more success actually just using a pipette and directly putting this on the algae and killing it. I guess we can just, yeah, we'll just pip it straight out, put it on our algae, and hopefully burn our algae to shreds. Let's open this up. I wonder what it smells like. It smells like it would sting your nose if you smelled it too closely. Let's just basically pop some up in here. Now this is bleach, so I don't want to get it on anything that's not the rock. Let's add some here. And you'll see it just starts to make a bubble. I can hear it too. Can you hear that? It's definitely making it easier to get off. And so save spending all this time scraping it off like this, I reckon. Now that we know that this works, let's go around and let's just drip it onto all of our bits of algae covered rock. And then I reckon what we could try and do is just maybe blast it with the hose or something and just rub it off once it's all died, because it seems like it's going to be really easy to get off once it's dead. Hopefully if we can get this sorted out, we can make room for green algae instead, like a nice green algae. I think that it's actually dissolving the algae as it's killing it, because I can see bits of Holey rock appearing that weren't there before. All right, and yes, this tank here is not a vibe right now. This tank needs some sorting out too. I have been letting it go because I know the trophies really like the algae, and as they were growing, you know, I just wanted them to have a lot of access to that. It's just not super appealing to look at. It looks like my tank is like nuclear reactive or something with that color green in there. So we need to sort that out, because I cleaned that algae off the glass only like a week and a half ago. I want to have that window open because I like the sunlight for my plants, and just for Layla as well. I think it's just good for her to have a bit of natural sunlight coming through there. If I can try and dull them down a little bit as I dull those ones down too, that will help. I was kind of just hoping that it would balance itself out, but I think we might need to intervene a little bit. I quickly discovered I was a bit ambitious, and this Black Beard algae was way harder to scrub off than I initially thought. I had to end up going back outside, and I just did another round of trying to bleach it as much as possible and then washing it and scrubbing it a bit outside with the hose, and then that was pretty much as good as I could do. And yes, I have a random saucepan of biomedia just sitting out here, and this, which isn't from like 2 weeks ago, and my plants that I bought for the garage. As I was washing these, I did think about how much bacteria, like beneficial bacteria, I'm going to be killing off doing this. So I just need to be really careful, as you do any time that you're doing something that could kill off some of your bacteria colony in your tank. You just want to be mindful, because we don't want to kill off too much beneficial bacteria and crash our cycle in our tank. And also, just when there's going to be changes to the environment and the ecosystem in the tank, that can stress fish a little bit. So because I am going to be taking out a substantial amount, probably by doing this with this rock, I just want to be careful, especially if I'm thinking about cleaning my filters as well. So what I might do tomorrow is just clean one filter, just to be on the safer side. All right, I think that will do. I just recommend not getting a Black Beard algae outbreak in your tank in the first place, because what do these guys do when they get old? They do absolutely nothing. Look at him pretending to eat it now. Incredibly, after all of that work, this is still how it looks. It's definitely better, and it'll be less fuzzy once it goes in the water, but it's not perfect. So this algae was extremely hard to kill and to get off. So this is a type of really easy to care for plant, and it just needs to be attached to some driftwood or some rocks. So it's got a little thing called a rhizome that's here. You can't really see it too much on these because they're quite tiny ones, but that actually has to be always above soil. So these just do best if you just attach them to stuff and make sure that it's not covered up. So we're just going to attach them onto here. You can either get aquarium glue, or you can just use something like fishing line to attach them on. So then what will happen is, over time, little roots will grow, and then eventually it'll just be holding on itself. Thinking if we just use these two, that look quite cool. This will be our main one, and then this can be a little one. It'll be easiest to tie it in maybe just somewhere like here. I think that should look quite cool. And then maybe we can just put the other little one maybe here. There's something kind of funny about using fishing line in a fish tank to give my fish some plants. It's like come full circle. I have actually just used normal, I think like cotton string to do this before, and it worked fine too. But I'm just using the fishing line because I had it on hand. And also, it's nice and clear, so the Anubias dries out very quickly. So I want to get that in ASAP. And just cut the little ends off. That'll do the trick. I don't know if that's gonna stay. Should be fine. We can say we tried. So we have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that they are not eating the Anubias, which is awesome. So you can see that it's still all intact. Now, the bad news is this one was not attached good enough and it just came off. But they're not showing any interest in it or eating it, so that is good. But I was having a look at this tank. I was just sitting here and I was eating my lunch, and I was seeing how they were interacting and everything. And what I would like to do is, I actually do want to put a little bit more Holey rock in just over that end and just make it like one big area where they can go in between. And I think it'll look really nice once we fill it out with Anubias, because I'm just worried that they don't have enough little crevices and stuff, especially just for the Mbuna in here. This one here, the zebra Mbuna, is kind of being a little bit bossy to the other ones, and I just want to make sure they've all got a little home. I cleaned this tank, so this tank is looking all nice and beautiful as well. What I'm actually going to do is, thankfully, I just spoke to Finn from Atlas Aquariums, and they've got some Anubias left over. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to race over there now. We're going to get a bunch of Anubias to fill out the Holey rock here, because I think that it would be better just to add it all now. I mean, I'm just going to end up adding it later anyway, and I think it'll be easier for it to balance itself out properly, having more plants in there from the get-go. Let's go do that. You might not be able to tell, but I did dim the lights also a little bit, so just on both tanks, they're maybe like 20% less bright, so hopefully that'll help a little bit with algae too. But let's get going to Atlas and get this Anubias. We'll see you soon, Layla. Bye. we're just gonna take out these Anubias for the first time ever.
Exactly. How many's in a dozen, Katie?
Okay, so Wilson's making fun of me because he told me that there was a dozen, and then Finn told me there's 15, and I roasted Wilson because I thought a dozen was 6. So I thought he got it really wrong, but actually turned out that I'm the dumb one because a dozen is not 6. A dozen is 12. I will admit my flaws. And also Wilson just put these all back in there and then took them all out again just for this video.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the
organic
scenes.
first collection.
Yeah, so organic. Alright, woohoo! Got out Anubias. Thank you. Oh, there's an expensive pleco in there. There's a snowball pleco. You see? No, there.
Well,
can't you see him? Here.
I see him.
What he is. Have a look at these guys. So these are called tiger loaches because they're stripy, and we haven't had them in Australia until very recently. I think someone actually commented on one of my videos one time saying, have I seen tiger loaches before? And I said, I actually haven't. I don't think we even have them in Australia, and that wasn't that long ago. So this is my first time seeing them here. So these guys are at Atlas Aquariums. If you're local, come and check them out. I would totally get them if the time was right, because I love loaches. Like, how cool would it be? I would actually love to set up just a loach tank and have as many types of, you know, different loaches that I could get. I think that would be really cool. We need to get home because I need to clean my canister filters and I need to get rid of that Black Beard Algae, and we need to get all that Anubias on the tank too. So I will see you at home. This is gonna be to come. We'll come and do a proper tour here with a good camera and everything when this is done. But they're setting up. I think it's gonna be mainly salt water and like large saltwater fish and stuff out here. So that's to come. So stay tuned for that. I am home and way later than I expected. It's already past 5 o'clock and the sun is gonna go down in like 45 minutes. So I wanna get this canister filter cleaned really quickly. I've got my bag of Anubias to add into the tank as well that we just picked up from Atlas. We need to drain the tank anyway to get some of that remaining Black Beard Algae off and to attach our Anubias a little bit easier. And when we drain the tank, we can use that water to clean out the canister filter. To drain our tank, I'm just gonna put my pond pump in, connected to this hose that goes outside. It will run out very heavily just here, but what I can do is this little thing here. I've just got this, which I can turn and restrict the flow. And what happens is when I restrict that flow a lot, it increases the pressure. So then it goes through all of these sprinklers that I've got set up through the garden. It did just rain recently, so the garden doesn't really need it, but it's a good way to water the garden and also just slow down the tank draining too. There's a rock I really like. Actually, where's the step ladder? Let's be safe. This big rock, I think it's really pretty. And then I'm going to move these to the side. We still have to make sure there's no fish under that. And then get this big chunky rock. Okay, let's just leave it at that for now because we can always change it later. That just gives us a little bit of an extra area to add some more plants as well, and gives more of that middle kind of island, but still room to swim around. And then on the top as well, they can swim around the back too. But I think that'll do for now. Let's just go get this filter done and then we can add in our Anubias too. There we go. Okay, it's a little bit dirty, so I'm gonna pull it out. I'm trying to remember how it comes out. I think just like that. Like that. See all that gunk and stuff? That's what we just want to wash off. So we're kind of against the clock at the moment, so I've just gone ahead and I've filled up that canister filter, I've put it back in. Let's just pray that it starts with no issues since we undid the pump and everything, because that's always a little bit risky. You know, sometimes they struggle to start even on good days just because they're very sensitive to make sure that they stop. But if they pick up on anything like substrate or sand in the impeller, they tend to not turn on. So let's just hope that works. Thank you to Jack from Mad Aquariums about 2 years ago, I think. He gave me this glue and I haven't had to use it because I don't really have planted aquariums until now. But this is going to be, or maybe I have used it. Looks like it might have been open. No, I don't think so. Hopefully it doesn't have a use by date. I don't think it does. But this is going to make it so much easier to put our plants in. So, especially when you've got heaps like this, to be able to just glue them on instead of tie them on is going to be a treat. So let's lay our plants out. So I think I've got something around 15 or a dozen Anubias here that we're going to be able to glue on all over the place. It's going to look really awesome. And hopefully they continue to not eat them. All right, so that's all of our little Anubias here. So let's start adding them in. I know I said that I was going to try and kill some more Black Beard algae, but honestly, this rock is not as badly affected. So our efforts to remove it were not the best. So I don't think it's really worth bothering doing that. And hopefully these will take out plenty of nutrients, these little Anubias. So I just cut a little hole in the side of this because the lid was kind of glued on because I have apparently used it before. I don't know for what or why, but let's just get these glued on. I'm going to try not to glue too much on the roots or the rhizome because that needs to be able to breathe. So I'll just put it on the kind of like side of the plant and stick it on in. Sorry guys, I don't mean to scare you. It's just some plant. I'm just going to place them randomly around. All right, I might just move to the other side to make sure I balance it out enough. It seems to be working to just put the glue on it and then to splash some water over the top when it's sitting where you want it to, and the water just helps to activate the glue. And I'm just trying not to cover the whole rhizome when I do that. This is way faster than if I had to tie all of this. I'm so glad I had this glue. All right, let's go in the middle. Maybe some at the front there and then some there, and that should be pretty good. And I do find with this type of thing, it's good to not think too much about it because you just drive yourself mental, I think, if you overthink it. Same even with like placing rocks and stuff. That's something I learned, is just putting stuff where it feels natural or just naturally falls. And that just helps. I just want it to look like a little oasis kind of island in the middle. We've got 2 pieces left. Maybe just one down there and then one in there, and we should be good to go. And so would you look at this? The girl who said that she didn't want plants, look at me now, how things change. Oh, and we've got a free one, that one that fell off last night. We can attach that somewhere too. Where should we put this one? Maybe down the front here. I'm just gonna let it seal itself up there, and then next time I want to use it, I'll just cut a little slit again. Got just a little bit of glue on my hands. Alrighty, we are filling up. And I've added in my dechlorinator and my buffer as well to help raise the pH and the KH. And all the fishies are looking awesome. I'm actually loving the look of the plants in here. I think it looks really, really cool. And so hopefully these Anubias will outcompete the Black Beard algae because they're all nice and healthy. They're gonna have plenty of light, plenty of nutrients. I noticed a particular buildup of Black Beard algae just along the back here and down that end originally when we had rock that was all the way almost to the very end. So I'm thinking that's because that was areas where there was buildup of nutrients because of a lack of water flow. So if we just get the wave maker really pushing that water as much as possible around the tank to help with flow, I think that should be good. The other thing too that gave me some confidence to put plants in here is Dustin's fish tanks on Instagram. I saw him just riding the point home all the time that plants actually like hard water, since you do see a lot of people talking about low pH with plants, and I guess that's because of CO2 levels, but apparently they do just fine with minerals in the water too. So, woohoo! We will come back when it's nice and full up. I just turned the wave maker on, and what I've done is I've moved it down here just to try and get the flow circulating down there and around, and it seems to be working really, really well. The fish like the flow. That's really cute. They're swimming against it because I can see all the debris that was floating around in the water that hopefully our filters will suck up when they're on. You can see it. It's actually in a circular motion, so it's going around the back of the tank and then back to the front, which is a really good sign that we've got some good flow. and I can even see it moving some of the Anubias leaves a little bit throughout this back area. What I may possibly consider too is getting a wave maker for this end here, just to create some extra flow. I googled just about the flourish, and I saw a lot of people saying that it melted their Anubias, and apparently Seachem doesn't recommend using it as an algicide. So what I'm going to do is, just to be on the safe side, I'm actually not going to put any flourish in there, especially because the tank's been through so much already. I think I'm just going to leave it, and I'm just going to see how it goes. I'm going to keep a really keen eye on these Anubias. If I do see any signs of Black Beard Algae growing on them, I'm going to try to get onto it straight away and just kind of play it by ear, see what we need to do to really get that Black Beard Algae down. Cast your votes below. Do you think that my Anubias are going to live, or do you think that the queen of killing plants is going to kill these plants? Or maybe I've changed. Maybe. Where's my food? Who knows, maybe I'm gonna be able to keep these ones alive. Our filter started back up and everything, so that it's definitely working, which is amazing. Our tank has cleared up quite a bit. It's looking beautiful at the moment. Let's hope that it stays that way and our Anubias stay nice and healthy. Let me give you a little close-up look of how it all looks. It's all stayed nice and good and glued down everything. I think it looks really, really beautiful. We have one little stray leaf that was already off before. I don't know what happened with that. Hey, did that make my wave maker? No, my wave maker's working, but I should probably do something about that so it doesn't get jammed. But it's all looking really beautiful, and so far they're not paying any interest. Now I'm going to fix up all of my cables and everything. That light is running down because I just undid the zip tie for my UVC. Some people may have seen that I had the green killing machine internal ultraviolet clarifiers in the tank. The pump might be broken, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's broken on my other one, but the pumps aren't too expensive, so I've ordered 2 new pumps. I've also got 2 new lights on the way too, because I looked into the one that Fluval does, and it's only like 6 watts I think, whereas these green killing machine ones, I've got a 24 watts each. And even with that, I don't know if the wattage makes a difference, but I know that I needed 2 of them to match this tank. And the Fluval ones, I don't really have them too available in Australia, and they're kind of expensive, and if I'd have to get 2 of them, that would cost me like over $500, I'm pretty sure. So I thought it's going to be cheaper to just keep my green killing machine ones, which I know are awesome quality. I mean, yeah, they look a little bit gunky and heavy in there, but I don't mind. You'll see once I get the new pumps and the new lights, I'll show you guys. If you think this looks clear now, wait until you see it with the ultraviolet clarifiers, because it makes a huge difference. The Purigen makes it beautiful, but even right now, you may not notice it, but it has a little bit of a green tinge even right now. But once you add a UVC in, or these green killing machine ones, they take out any algae that's in the water, and it looks really beautiful. So I will definitely show you when we get that, and of course you'll be seeing an update at some point on these plants too, and how they've gone. I'm going to say that that's a job well done. Make sure you drop below your top plant caring tips as well. And if you're enjoying my content and you haven't yet, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel as well. It really makes a big difference when you do that in terms of YouTube, recommending the videos and everything. But that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.